Before we begin today, a brief content warning. Today we are looking at Season 2, Episode 13 of Twin Peaks, also known as Checkmate. This episode does contain depictions of violence against women. Listener discretion is advised.
Hello and welcome to Things Getting Strange, a Twin Peaks Rewatch podcast. I'm Nick.
And I'm Kim.
And, okay, we failed. I said we were going to watch I Want to Believe. It turns out that having Connell's Disney Plus account and then Disney being kind of, restrictive on it, and then losing the login meant that we couldn't really watch I Want to Believe. So, we failed.
That was a great string of excuses.
I thought so. I mean, I feel slightly... I don't feel too bad given I've read a number of reviews and everyone hits the same point, which is it's shorter, it's possibly a little bit scarier, it has the same fundamental problems as the old version, and also some of Mulder and Scully's characters gone. They've trimmed some really odd things out of it.
Weird?
Yeah, and I was thinking about this as well, though. I'm wondering how much is just the fact we expect director's cuts to be interesting these days. And it's really odd to think that Blade Runner was the big first one. And if you really get down to it, what Blade Runner director's cut actually was they stripped out voiceover, cut the ending off, and put a scene of a unicorn in, and suddenly it's transformative.
Well, yeah, when doing it with Blade Runner, you removed some of the kind of solidity of it.
Yes,
let's say.
More ambiguous as a result.
Yeah. So we can no longer unequivocally say Deckard is a human.
Yes. You've read Future Noir and noticed that amongst the Blade Runner production crew, there's a lot of very conflicting opinions on that.
Yeah.
Some people really like it and some people absolutely hate it. But I suppose also it's like James Cameron when you see his director's cuts, and someone, I think it was Empire, made the case of there's actually a middle ground that never gets hit, which is in between the theatrical version and his special editions is the best version of it. Because they usually go on slightly too long, his special editions.
I'd argue the same thing about the extended editions of Lord of the Rings, to be honest.
It's possible.
I know everyone says they're the superior versions. I
There
think
is
they're
a bit
way
much.
too long.
So yeah, some of it you understand why it was cut.
Yeah.
And it's kind of nice to see it restored, but at the same time, we didn't need it. The one that always gets to me though is about Aliens, when they make the big thing of in the special edition of they've got the auto turrets and they actually say if we didn't have these, we'd be dead. And it's like, and because they cut from the film, you don't have them, so hey, you're fine.
I think Alien 3 is a good argument for a director's cut as well, because the director's cut of Alien 3 is so different to the original film.
It is. That's also one of the tragic ones where it's theoretically the director's cut, because it's based on the notes David Fincher left behind, given he hated that experience so much he refused to go back and do it.
Yeah.
But they assembled it as best they could. And it is a substantially more interesting film. It is actually better.
I still intensely dislike Alien 3, but I do agree the director's cut is better than the original version.
And I think I tried to watch Alien Resurrection director's cut, and it was like, sorry, what are we doing? What's the difference?
Did they change anything?
I can't remember, because I've got that Blu-ray box set and it's got the different versions of all the films. And Resurrection was the whole, I've never seen anyone talk about the differences are. I've no idea how it differs.
I can't imagine, how you could, with any amount of cutting, make Alien Resurrection an enjoyable experience.
No, me either. But I think it's I think the problem is though we are kind of hoping for something like Blade Runner to happen, but I think the problem is that Blade Runner, and to a certain extent Dark City as well, actually, I think is the other one, of another film where they stripped a voiceover out of it, and that improves the film. Because if you've never seen Dark City, go watch Dark City, because it's actually a tremendous film that is really underrated.
It's comparable to The Matrix, I'd say, but it's a lot more cerebral than The Matrix is.
Yeah, and a lot... Not as flashy in its special effects. There's no kung fu or anything. This is a lot more of a...
Film noir.
Yeah, film noir with weirdo sci-fi concepts laid on top of it.
Yeah.
It's really obvious if you watch Dark City through to the end that the opening voiceover, which explains what the situation is, was not meant to be on there, given that the character who says it directly contradicts part of it towards the end of the film.
Yeah.
He knows something in the intro he doesn't know by the time you get to the outro, which doesn't make any sense. But the director's cut of Dark City is a superior version just because they've stripped off this unnecessary voiceover again. You can't do that to I Want to Believe.
No.
And also the fact that Chris Carter was kind of focused on making it R-rated and nasty, and it's like, that's not the problem with the film, Chris. Also shocking, though, because we saw it in a number of outlets, because everyone's been talking about this week, is he wants another film.
Oh, Carter, yes.
Yeah. And he wants another film or another TV series, and he doesn't want... Nicely, he doesn't want to interfere with the reboot, so that's at least something.
He had this baffling interview, and I'm not sure who the interview actually was, because I've only seen snippets of it. But he said something to the effect of he's hoping Fox will let him have a final series, so long as Fox don't think it'll be competition for the Coogler series.
I mean, and it will be, but I mean, I think we made so many points in, like, from season 9 right the way through to season 11 is you have to do this now. You cannot keep postponing the ending. You have to, whatever you want to do, you got to do it. Stop messing around. Or, because I think we had this conversation the other day, is season 10 and 11 should have either been all conspiracy wall to wall or all Monster of the Week episodes. You can't do the old style anymore.
There was one other interesting thing that I plucked out of those interview notes I read, was that he's kind of revealed that Gillian Anderson is going to appear in the revival in some form, but he doesn't know about Duchovny.
Yeah, which is odd, given that she's the one I would expect to run a million miles away from this.
She's always very respectful of Chris Carter, to be fair,
Yeah.
but while also making clear that the kind of X-Files phase of her life is really over now.
Yeah, there's an interview in Radio Times when she was really kind of clear that she wasn't coming back. I have a sneaky suspicion that you can probably get her to do a cameo.
Yeah.
I think she'll tolerate that, but she's not going to tolerate anything further.
It'll be interesting if Carter does get his way and actually does manage to get this series, though, in the fact that if Scully cameos as herself in the Coogler series, that would kind of make it canon.
Yes.
So how the two will fit around each other would be kind of curious.
Well, as you put out to me, a good thing is that Chris Carter wants another series or another film. What's perihelion then? Have we tossed out another chunk of canon just because?
Please. Well, we did it with the comics, didn't we? That
We
they
did.
were canon until they weren't.
But perihelion has all that stuff about how it's sanctioned and authorized and everything.
Yeah.
And we said, please don't make the X-Files, the X-Men canon. We don't want this. Doesn't need to happen.
Again, though, the season 10 comic, that was its big stick as well.
Exactly. It's like is he turning into George Lucas? I mean, it's not as big yet, but it's very much a case of what I say goes, and I may have authorized your thing back here, but I can whip away support at a moment's notice.
That could be interesting in the sense of, will he decanonize the Coogler series on that basis?
He might do. I've got more. I think it's that you need entirely different people in charge at this point.
I'm more interested about to see what Ryan Coogler will do with a clean slate, with new blood. It's a lot more interesting than the kind of stagnation that the Chris Carter series was getting.
Well, I mean, even if, as implied, this is a sequel series, although, of course, we have Mr. Trick here. We know parallel universes exist in the X-Files. We don't know that the Mulder and Scully make cameo, but they might not be who they are.
True.
And because there was that reference of long-shuttered division or something.
Yes.
So is it possible that the X-Files happened up to, like, season 5, and the fire meant they never reopened it?
Yeah, you could do something like that. Or you have Mulder in the capacity of being the Arthur Dales character.
Yes, I think that's a possibility.
The old-timer that we might visit in one episode.
Yeah, or do it for both of them separately or something. We might watch I Want to Believe eventually, but it doesn't sound like... If you've not watched it, you're not missing anything. I don't think we're missing much either.
Well, that was pessimistic to begin with.
Yeah. Well, have you got anything?
I do.
Ooh.
So this is specifically for any England-based listeners that we may have. There is going to be a David Lynch festival in London at the end of September. So this is called A Gathering of Angels. It's taking place at the Genesis Cinema in Whitechapel, and it is the weekend of the 26th and 27th of September. Full details are on their website if you just search for the Genesis Cinema in Whitechapel. But it is not just Twin Peaks, it is a full appreciation of the entire, I don't know, what do we call it, the Lynchverse?
Oeuvre. Well, he doesn't do interconnected stuff generally, so I think just his oeuvre.
So some of the things they've mentioned is there are going to be full screenings of Blue Velvet and Firewalk with Me, the Twin Peaks film. There is also going to be a cabaret made by a London legendary group called the Double R Club.
I see what you did there.
Yeah. And there are going to be a few special guests as well as something called the Blue Velvet Immersive Experience, which if you go, please tell me what that is. I really want to know. But our special guests as well, because they are Twin Peaks related. We have Harry Goers, who played Deputy Andy.
Yep.
We have Ian Buchanan, who's Dick Tremaine. So it's kind of fun to have those two together.
It still feels like a wild pick of all the characters to import.
And you also have George Griffiths, who we haven't got to yet. He played Ray Monroe in The Return.
Ah, okay.
As well as The Return's executive producer, who's Sabrina Sutherland.
Ah.
And I believe there are some other guests as well, which include some editors and special effects guys and stuff like that. So it sounds really cool. Unfortunately, I'm at a different convention that weekend and can't go to it. But if anybody does visit, I want a full rundown, and please let me know so I can tell people how it went.
Yes, so it would be great to see how that went. Right, I suppose we have to play some chess. So, we are talking about Season 2, Episode 13, or Season 2, Episode 20 overall, also called Checkmate. Written by Harley Payton, directed by Todd Holland, and first broadcast on the 19th of January 1991. What does Margaret have to say?
My husband died in a fire. No one can know my sorrow. My love is gone. My dearest friend is gone. Yet I feel him near me. Sometimes I can almost see him. At night, when the wind blows, I think of what he may have been. Again I wonder, why? When I see a fire, I feel my anger rising. This was not a friendly fire. This was not a forest fire. It was a fire in the woods. That is all I am permitted to say.
At some point we'll have to go over what does fire mean to David Lynch, because he does seem to treat it as a very strange concept.
One chance out between two worlds?
Exactly. Major Briggs narrates part of his experience of being abducted from the woods. He says he remembers stepping from the flames, a vague shape in the dark, and then nothing else until he found himself at the 2-day-old campsite. He is sitting in the sheriff's office conference room with Truman and Cooper. Dr. Hayward photographs the back of his neck, and the Major also recalls seeing the image of a giant owl. Hayward shows them the photograph, which shows 3 triangular scars behind the Major's right ear. The Major becomes very upset and wonders if the experience was meant for his soul. When Cooper suggests he start at the beginning, the Major asks if they're familiar with Project Blue Book, the Air Force investigation into UFOs that ended in 1969. The Major says that unofficially he continued to examine the heaven and, as in Twin Peaks, the earth below. He says they are searching for a place called the White Lodge. They are then interrupted by 2 MPs who, on orders from Colonel Riley, take the Major. Cooper examines the photograph. A few drops of water drip onto it from the overhead sprinkler. Ernie calls Jean Renault and tells him he has the out-of-town buyer. Andy enters the sheriff's station, walks past Lucy and encounters Dick. He tells him about visiting the Helping Hand adoption agency to find that Nikki's records were sealed and returned to the orphanage. The two of them plan a visit to the orphanage and they leave. Lucy tells Cooper that she checked all the personal columns in national newspapers and found nothing that looks like a chess deal and no name like Wyndham Earl. Ed passes a note to Norma saying we need to talk. While Shelley feeds Leo at home, while the introduction to Invitation to Love is heard, and Shelley complains it is Bobby's turn to feed Leo, and Bobby claims he has baseball practice. He tells her he's not going home and that he has better things to do than bathing Leo. Shelley slaps him and Bobby leaves. James phones Ed and asks that the money from his savings account be sent to Wally's hideout, the Bowen 96. Evelyn enters the garage and asks if he is homesick. James tells her about Laura and is wanting to run away from Twin Peaks, and Evelyn kisses him. They hear Jeffrey leaving, and she tells James that she needs his help. Nadine sits next to Mike Nelson at the counter of the Double R Diner. Mike tells her he does not want to know her, but she tells him she wants to go out with him, kisses him, and pushes him off his stool. Norma leaves, after telling a clearly suspicious Hank that she's going to run some errands. Truman visits Josie and asks why she's not moving into his place. Josie says she is safe there and she's no good for him. Truman kisses her and holds her. Audrey watches Ben's secretary run from his office in tears. She enters and finds Ben deep in his reenactment of Gettysburg. She tells him he needs help and uses the phone to call for her uncle. Norma visits Ed and they declare their love for each other with embraces and kisses. In Truman's office, Hawk tapes a transmitter to Ernie's abdomen. Ernie claims he suffers from hyperhidrosis when Hawk complains about Ernie sweating. Cooper makes Ernie review his plan to take Denise to Dead Dog Farm and to meet Renault. Truman deputizes Cooper so he can go along with them. Cooper pins deputy badge number 13 on as Denise enters, dressed as a man and calling herself Dennis. Wind blows through the trees as Dick and Andy enter the office of Dorrit Home for Boys, where everyone is at lunch. Dick searches the files and finds the file on Nikki. He starts to read as the couple enter and introduce themselves as the Brustons and have come to see Donnie. Dick tells them that little Donnie is not feeling well. Donna visits Ed and asks about James. Ed tells her about James's phone call and gives her the money to take to the bar on the 96. After she leaves, Ed turns to Norma, who kisses him and leaves. Ed closes the door and turns out to see Hank, who begins to beat him. Nadine enters and thoroughly pummels Hank before comforting Ed. In his office, Ben tells Bobby about a Civil War battle. Audrey opens the door and peeks in as Ben addresses Bobby as General Meade. Bobby says he has to talk to President Lincoln and leaves. Outside, Bobby tells Audrey that Ben has flipped. Audrey says Uncle Jerry will be on the next plane and Dr. Duchovny will come over tomorrow. As they leave, Catherine enters and goes into Ben's office. Ben tells her to go ahead and gloat, but Catherine says while she did come there to gloat, and refers to Ben as slimy rat bastard Americanus do not feed, she tells him that she wants him and embraces him. James leads a blindfolded Evelyn to the car and lets her look at it. She says Jeffrey will be home at midnight and they drink champagne. She asks him not to leave. He starts to remove her clothes and presses her onto the fender while he kisses her. Malcolm watches and laughs to himself. Truman and Cooper watch Ernie, John, Denise, and Officer King through binoculars at Dead Dog Farm, while Hawk listens to their conversation over the radio. Ernie rambles about hyperhidrosis and yellow fever as Denise tries to hurry them. King tells John that Ernie's shirt is smoking, and Hawk tells Truman and Cooper that the wire is dead. King and Renault emerge using Ernie and Denise's shield. Cooper exchanges himself for the hostages, and Truman tells Hawk to call the state police. At night, Evelyn leaves James's bedroom and meets Malcolm, who asks about their boy. She says he is sound asleep and dreaming of love. They kiss and embrace, although Evelyn is visibly uneasy. The state police arrive at Dead Dog Farm. Inside, King suggests they deal or run. John asks Cooper if they will deal, and Cooper tells him his only option is to surrender. John debates whether to give up quietly or to kill Cooper. When asked why, John says Twin Peaks was a quiet, innocuous bed of drug dealing before Cooper arrived. His president threw everything into a nightmare state that resulted in both of John's brothers being killed. He tells Cooper that if he should die, maybe the nightmares will die with you. Denise approaches dressed in a double R diner waitress uniform with a tray of food, and John, not recognizing her, decides to let her in. She lifts her skirt to reveal a gun, which Cooper grabs and uses to shoot John as Denise jumps King. Truman and troopers break for the house as John collapses, dead. Denise credits Truman with the idea of bringing the food. A record player plays in Shelley's house as the lights dim and Shelley wakes up. She gets off the couch and looks for Bobby. She finds a clown doll on the pillow of Leo's empty bed, and then she sees Leo standing wearing a party hat. He says Shelley and she screams. The lights go out. Outside a darkened sheriff's station, Truman asks Lucy about a bomb report. Lucy tells him there was a voice on the phone that said there was a bomb planted in the woods. There was a huge explosion and the lights went out. Hawk goes to check on the generator and Cooper enters the station and calls to Harry from his office. Harry enters and sees a body with long hair tied to a chair with one hand pointing to a chessboard. Cooper says it is Wyndham Earl's next move.
Thank you.
How's Reddit doing at this point? Are they hanging in there or have they given up?
They're pretty much giving up hope. The consensus for this stage of the plot is that people like Denise and people like Wyndham Earl, and we're only just kind of scraping into Wyndham Earl's storyline now. Yeah,
I remember this was a point that some people made, is that this is Twin Peaks dropping into the gorge, and the cancellation comes just as they're starting to ramp up the interesting parts.
Yeah.
Too little, too late. This also felt like... It's the kind of thing in the X-Files or other series is you sort of say they've been told they've been cancelled, so they're going to try and wrap things up, but there's 11 episodes to go on this.
Yeah.
But why are we sort of just rushing Jean Reno's exit so fast into this?
I think we've pretty much done everything we could do with Jean Reno.
Well, yeah, but it's all one of those, he could just be hanging out in the background. I mean, these things do take time and not a matter of days in this kind of thing. Plus,
we need to exonerate Coop so he can get his license back.
Yeah, and figure out a new reason why he has to stay in town.
Well, Wyndham Earl.
Yes, so I realised where we speculating that's the only logical thing of why he's going to still be here.
Wyndham Earl has literally killed a person in the sheriff's office. I think you've got a need for Coop to be here.
Oh, yeah. Although it's you could say also it's one of the things he should recuse himself because he's too close to it.
Yeah, true. So many questions about that scene.
Well, we might get some next time, or we might not, because this is Twin Peaks, and what you want is not necessarily anything.
But there is, a window and a door to that office.
Yeah.
I know there was the blackout and the kind of explosion, but...
It's a lot to move someone.
And Lucy was present because she said, oh, I phoned for the fire brigade, so she was evidently there, because this is the days before mobile phones. So he somehow manoeuvred a corpse and a kind of stag head into this position.
The stag head could have already been in there, given they have a lot of those around.
Interestingly, that guy playing the corpse is Craig McLaughlin, who's Carl McLaughlin's brother.
I vaguely remembered he was in there somewhere. Couldn't remember where. I don't even know. We could start with James just to get him out of the way.
Yeah, get.
Like, just please, James, please. It's such a basic, obvious plot line, and
I'm not sure we've even advanced it much this time, beyond the fact that we've seen the aftermath of Evelyn.
Yes, and Jeffrey
being beaten up by her husband.
Yeah. And obviously the brother isn't really her brother, or maybe he actually is, because Twin Peaks isn't not above pulling that kind of stunt, I think. I
thought the little smirk was interesting. I'm not sure what that means.
Well, also the fact they kissed, though, at the end.
Yeah.
So it's on those. Well, it's not impossibly brother and sister, but I'm going to go with you're not at all, are you?
I mean, in a soap, it could go either way.
Exactly.
I was so uninvested in this plot the last time I watched it, I think I can't actually remember where it goes.
But it's so typical, isn't it? It's like she's seducing him. She may have complicated feelings about it, as by her expressions, but James is being set up to take the fall for something, or to do something that they don't want to be caught with blood on their hands, basically. We
do have the complication now of the fact that Donna has been sent into the mix.
Yeah, it's like... I think that's like the one saving grace. Finally, someone else is going to enter this plot line.
Well, you did say previously that maybe it wouldn't have been problematic if there was another Twin Peaks residence there.
Yeah.
And off she goes.
And off she goes. At the same time, it's so unrelated to every other plot thread, it just feels extraneous, and you could have cut it out. So also, we've got to give some notes to the strange continuity errors, like the champagne bottle that just vanishes between shots.
From the back of the car.
From the back of the car.
Yeah.
Also, the fact is like, my husband will be home at midnight and it's the middle of the day, so let's start having sex out in the open against a car when there's a bedroom over there, James.
Well, they've got their palatial estate, and obviously the only place you could have sex would be in the middle of the drive.
Yes. So why is the car even parked? And also, though, the presentation of it doesn't make sense, because it's not... James hasn't restored a car, he's fixed an engine.
Yeah.
There's nothing to show anyone.
No.
Does the car turn on, now drive forward? Yes? Excellent work.
I still like the bit where she said, we haven't got long, my husband will be home at midnight, and it looks like it's the middle of the day.
Yeah.
It's like, a mere 12 hours.
Oh, no, not enough time. I mean, James clearly has stamina, apparently. And at some point, though, they do actually go to his bedroom anyway, so I'm really not sure what's going on anymore.
I like the bit where he pours the 2 glasses of champagne just to immediately pour them out again.
Yeah, it's like, come on, man. Drink the champagne. I mean, I realise you're too young, James, but anyway. Okay. Put James to one side. We don't have to worry about him anymore.
Yeah, nothing really to report on James's plot, really.
No. There's a thing about John Renault's comment that rings a bell, because I saw someone else talking about Twin Peaks on Tumblr. Unfortunately, I can't remember the username. But they made a big thing of how Cooper failed, basically. And it's the weird thing of Laura died and Cooper... Well, Cooper was like the only person who could have possibly saved Laura Palmer, but got there far too late, because of the only reason he'd have got there in the first place is because she died.
Yeah.
At the same time, though, they were making a point of the town seduces Cooper in a way that he shouldn't have let it.
Yeah.
And it's the contrast to Albert. And it's like Cooper is really invested in solving Laura Palmer's murder, but he's completely seduced by the atmosphere and life in the town, and sort of like integrates into it really fast. Then you've got Albert, who's cold, brutal, obnoxious, but wants to get the job done. It's like the autopsy of Laura Palmer. He wants to do it, again, with the objections of everyone else.
And get back to Washington.
Yeah, but it's also, he's going to get the answers you actually need out of this. Everyone else is just being emotional about it.
Yeah.
If you want to solve the murder, you need what Albert's going to find.
Mm.
And it's I can't remember the whole thrust of it, but it's an interesting bit to sort of get onto, is that as much as Cooper is the hero of the story, the town's got its hooks into him, and it's like John Renault's thing of how he used to like how Twin Peaks used to be.
I kind of liked Renault's little soliloquy at the end, just because it's kind of the good way of writing a villain. is that the villain is the hero of his own story. So you have Twin Peaks from the perspective of John Renault, your nice, understanding drug dealer, for whom everything was perfect and everything was balanced and harmonious. Then this evil FBI agent came along and destroyed the harmony of Twin Peaks. It's a lovely little kind of flip in perspective.
Yeah. I mean, it's still holding Cooper responsible. It's still one of those, but it's Leyland's fault, John. He's why Cooper's here at all.
Well, even Renault contradicts himself because he says something about it all being because that girl died.
Yeah.
It's like, so it's Laura's fault if you're going down this route. If this girl had never died...
Yes, I suppose so, yeah. Especially given that she was integrated into your drug operation.
Because you're bearing in mind that he does make reference to Leland as the grieving father who killed his brother.
Yeah.
But he doesn't seem to blame Leyland
No.
for anything. So technically, from his frame of logic, it's all Laura Palmer's fault.
Yes. So I think that's part of why, as much as I don't mind the John Renault plotline as much as some of the other ones, it's like, I can't understand your thought process here. It doesn't actually make sense if you pick at it.
My biggest problem with the whole John Renault arc at the end is how the Double R Diner has stocked a waitress outfit for somebody who is well over 6 foot tall, when all of the waitresses who work there are really tiny and petite.
They're a very inclusive employer.
Just in case.
Just in case. The other thing that struck me on this rewatch that I don't think I've factored in before is that King, the guy from the Canadian Mounted Police guy, him being an actual Mountie amounts to basically nothing.
No.
You'd think they'd push the angle more that he's also in law enforcement, therefore should be deferred to in some way, and they just don't seem to do anything with it.
No, it was just a reason for him to be able to frame Coop.
Yeah, and then it's like, I think the problem is as well, though, is that surely he should go back to Canada and not be hanging around Twin Peaks getting involved in drug deals. It's like, is that your function not meant to be that you're operating the other side of the border, keeping things moving?
I did kind of like the fact that King has evidently bitten off more than he can chew when he winds up trapped in this standoff.
Yeah.
Slowly realising the fact that Renault will die before he's caught.
Yeah, he doesn't want to be... he'd much rather stay alive and be caught than go out in a hail of glory.
I did like some of the bits in The Sting. I liked the using Cowardly Ernie as our mole.
Yeah, and the fact that it's, he's sweating so much he sort of uncovers the bust by, wrecking the microphone.
Yeah.
But even though it's like, oh, look, his shirt's smoking.
Yeah.
Such a weird detail to put in.
And I also like that somehow David Duchovny seems to be less convincing as himself than as Denise throughout this.
It is odd. I imagine this is actually the kind of thing where the costumer might have something... Costumer and makeup might be able to let you in on what they've done, because there is something uncanny about him in a suit, which he should look like Fox Mulder, but he doesn't.
No, I think it's the fact the suit looks a little too big for him.
Yeah, I was going to say, I think that's one of the things.
And also the fact he still has things like his eye makeup.
Yeah, I think he's not storing all his rings as well.
Is she?
Yes.
Yeah, it is strange though, but Duchovny looks way better as Denise than as Dennis.
Oh, absolutely. But I mean, it'd be interesting to hear what their brief was and what they would decide to do with that, because I think they have deliberately done something to Dennis, in inverted commas, that they didn't do for Denise, which is a curious way to do it.
Yeah, it's very interesting. I would be curious if there are any notes about that. I didn't find any about I don't know what we call this, Denise cross-dressing?
It's one of these, I'm not sure there's actually a good term for it, because it gets very convoluted at this point.
A cisgendered male actor who plays a transgendered woman dressed as a cisgendered male character.
Yeah. But making it really clear that they don't look comfortable dressed like that.
Yeah.
There's some voice role where someone's got to do that kind of convoluted thing, and I can't remember who it was.
Oh, are you thinking of like Hans Gruber?
Yeah.
Where you have
the English actor.
The English actor playing the German thief, who at one point in the movie has to put on an American accent.
Yeah. What a astonishing thing to make anyone try and do.
Yeah.
That's just such a weird idea. But yeah, it's like that. That's who I'm thinking of. It's nice that Ernie actually seems to have become a bit more open-minded in the space of an episode. The fact that he's correctly gendering Denise the entire time.
Yes, I was amazed after his reaction to learning that Denise was assigned male at birth last episode, he correctly genders her throughout the entire episode.
Yeah. It's such a weird artifact for 1991. It's like, you don't think this can possibly be happening at that stage, and yet here it is.
Yeah. Maybe it's the fact that it seems normal to us now, but in the 90s that would have fit the uncanny valley of Twin Peaks.
Yes. Well, as I say, this is the unfortunate possible truth of things like the Addams Family.
Yes.
Is that the core part of the Addams Family, unfortunately, is basically the Addams Family was an inverted sitcom. And it runs all the way down the line to, that's why Gomez and Morticia seem to love each other so much, is that that's not typical sitcom stuff.
Yeah.
Which is actually horrifying when you think about it, is that they're seen as weird and kooky because they're into each other.
Kind of interesting, given that they're often cited as an example of a great on-screen couple as well.
Yeah, and they absolutely are.
They love each other, they dote on their kids.
Exactly. But the fact that it's conceived as an inversion in this case of, you suddenly go, oh my god, the landscape of sitcoms in the 60s is horrifying.
You have the duality of that with the Addams Family, though, of the fact that some of the uncanniness is that they are such a nice family, but they're weird, so they're immediately discredited.
Yes.
Whereas
Also...
they're less nice neighbours, particularly in the films.
Yeah. Well, I suppose on top of that, they are into some truly macabre stuff. Where you can't sort of really sort of gloss over it, because I think Fellos did a review of the extended version of the Addams Family, because the Mamushka dance?
Yes.
There's like an extra 10 minutes of that's cut out of the other versions. And I've never actually seen it, but it seems to just drag on for absolutely ages.
Okay.
The normal film version's just absolutely fine as is, but there is another sequence filmed for it. And they sort of did try to sort of go as like, and so how many people do the Addams Family actually kill over the course of the film? Because they are a lovely family, but they definitely pour something over those carolers at the start. Definitely more or less kill off Tully and who's her face by the end.
Yeah.
And yeah, there's probably some other people that we've just missed who just get murdered over the course of it.
They might come back, you never know. There's that whole thing in the Addams Family Values about digging up grandparents.
That's true. Well, I would say Pugsley stealing the stop signs is like, that's just asking for trouble.
Yeah.
Yeah, and just as a capsule to that one, I've sort of seen, well, I'm very aware of the Addams Family Tumblr memes, so it's like you're transgender or whatever going to the Addams Family and they're just welcoming with open arms, because that's actually who they are.
Yeah.
Again, it comes back to the inversion of the sitcom principles, and it's like, okay. So basically, Middle America is horrifying in this case, and the kooks are the good ones.
I'd like to be adopted by the Addams Family, to be honest.
Wouldn't we all? It's fine. Although, I think you want to be the 60s TV version or the Barry Sonnenfeld film versions more than the others.
Yeah, probably.
Because I think the animated films are fun, but they've not got the same charm as the Sonnenfeld films.
Everway gets me access to Morticia's greenhouse, to be honest.
That's fine. I'm just thinking, you want the Raul Julia as the patriarch of the family.
Absolutely.
Take John Aston as well, but it's one of the two of them, and Raul Julia is the preferred one.
Yeah.
Anyway, but John Renaud, he's gone. It feels like a really hasty wrap-up for something that's dragged on for so long.
I thought the bit where Cooper fires at him and he runs around the corner would be a perfect vessel for him to somehow get away.
I thought he was going to do as well. It's like, oh god, it's going to be another... Oh wait, there he is. Despite the number of doors in that place, he did manage to escape.
I also thought, because you saw them give Cooper the rather massive deputy's badge, which he had under his kind of gillet, that it was going to be like the bullet ricocheting off the Bible sort of situation.
I can see that. I do wonder why it's number 13, because obviously
Unlucky for some.
There's got to be more than 13 people at that service station. John Renaud's out. Hooray. Connected to him, though, we could talk about Hank and... and Ed and Norma. It's like, oh my, that was just the weirdest scene ever.
My favourite Twin Peaks scene to date. It's brilliant.
It's just, was it deliberate? It's like theatrical staging, but you've also everyone's hitting the cues too soon.
So to explain the scene, this is after it's been heavily inferred that Ed and Norma have slept together.
Yes.
Donna comes to see Ed briefly. When she leaves, he turns and has a brief conversation with Norma, who also kind of kisses him and leaves. Then he turns back away from the door and Hank is behind him. It's like, so you've got to believe from the framing of the scene that Hank was just stood next to Norma the entire time and he didn't notice him.
Exactly. I've also found that Norma just like a tunnel vision looking at Ed and not noticing that Norma was standing right there. It makes me think of, do you know this one from GoldenEye, the James Bond film?
Yes.
There's a shot some people get really obsessed over, and I sort of goes, it's a mistake, don't worry about it. But at the end of the film, they've blown up the radar dish, Sean Bean's died. This isn't a spoiler, he dies in most films. It's like Silent Hill is one of the only exceptions to this.
It is also a film that's like 30 years old now.
And that too. But anyway, Bond is lying with Bond girl. I'm sorry, I can't remember her name or the actress on this one. God, what even is she called?
Natalia.
Bond's lying in Natalia within the grass.
Mm.
And there doesn't seem to be anyone around them. And they have a little intimate moment. And then basically it's like camouflage people pop up from the landscape.
Yeah.
And the general comes in. That's not the bit though. So that's okay. So they're hiding in the long grass. They're not as long as I thought it was. Then it goes to a wider shot, and there's a helicopter coming down above them. And a lot of people made the point of, how did that work? This doesn't make any sense in a kind of narrative context. In a film, sure. In real life, it's a stealth helicopter and it just got there. But that's like this moment in Twin Peaks is there's literally no way you could all be standing there, except that that's the implication of the shots.
And then, to make this scene even better, you get Hank roughs Big Ed up a bit, at which point Nadine, the hero, comes into our thing and completely just beats the crap out of him.
I don't understand how Hank is still alive. No, just because every depiction of Nadine's strength we've been shown, she's brutal.
And this is Nadine angry.
Exactly. So she's not going to be pulling a punch or anything. She's full force. So how is this man alive? He is, but anyway.
I think Hank's actor does spectacular in this. Just this kind of growing look of horror through the entire, just brief fight sequence.
Oh, yeah. I think the moment when Nadine comes head at the end of it is like, this is a thing that David Lynch actually would have done. Because I think there's a lot of stuff that David Lynch would have never done in the series. But to have Nadine, who's trying to have a relationship with Mike, comfort Big Ed, who is cheating on her with Norma, that's exactly the kind of messed up thing you'd want to put in.
It's incredibly soap opera.
Yes. But this actually feels like something that Twin Peaks would do, to have something that weirdly complicated happen.
I do feel, though, I felt it more in this episode than the previous ones, that Nadine's relationship with Mike is starting to get a bit problematic.
A little bit. I also, though, think this is the point where he's not resisting in the same way anymore. I think she's wearing him down.
But he is resisting, and he's repeatedly saying no. And he gives a rather blunt put down of her because he's just got so tired of it this episode, at which point she grabs him and forcibly kisses him.
Yeah.
It's all played for laughs, because of course it is, but if you flip the genders, if that was a man forcing himself on a girl who's, an older man as well, forcing himself on a young girl who keeps saying no.
Yep. Who else do we have? Oh, okay. So we could also do the most X-Files-y bit of the episode, which is Major Briggs. Do we watch each other's episodes anymore? Because I remember this was a big thing for the X-Files, where we did actually have some quotes from people where, no, they didn't watch each other's episodes.
I thought it was interesting how he mentioned that he reappeared at the campfire, but he didn't last episode, he reappeared in the room.
Yes, dressed as a World War II aviator, and it's like that. No, please go back and explain what that was about. Because I don't think they don't know. They haven't got a plan for this.
No, I thought his neck symbol was kind of interesting as well. That kind of looks like the radiation symbol on his neck.
Yeah.
But interestingly as well, you said it was a scar, and I'm pretty sure they say a scar in the episode. If you read the synopsis on IMDb, it says it's a tattoo.
Okay, that's odd.
But it definitely looks like a scar in the episode. It does look like a scar,
yeah. I mean, this is like one of the most crossover into the X-Files thing, because weird things being behind your ear after alien abductions, we are familiar with that stuff.
To be fair, that's a common thing in kind of abduction lore anyway.
Yeah. Mentioning Project Blue Book is interesting.
Which was a real thing, of course.
Which was a real thing. It's such a weird thing for Duchovny to be involved with, because this really is like... You know how Pushing Daisies was originally going to be a one-off episode of Dead Like Me?
Yes.
This was a lot like the X-Files was meant to be a one-off episode of Twin Peaks and got developed elsewhere, even though none of the creative staff are actually involved with each other.
The one where Denise goes back to headquarters following the events of this with more of a interest in the supernatural and creates her own division.
You can see it. You can see the gist of it there, and it becomes a spin-off. And I'm very glad that Pushing Daisies was its own thing and not the episode of Dead Like Me, because it didn't seem like it was quite fully thought out in that one. But Project Blue Book is interesting, and god damn the MPs who show up exactly as we start mentioning they're looking for the White Lodge. So I do like that they want to find it. They know they theoretically know what it is, but that's about as far as they can go. But why do they want it? And are we ever going to find out?
Da da da.
And I'm not sure how much more Project Blue Book comes up, but it's great cryptic stuff that I wouldn't be surprised if Major Briggs showed up dead, but I can't remember now.
It's kind of weird name-dropping Project Blue Book, I think, and not making it your own thing, other than the fact that we associate Project Blue Book with UFOs, because what he's doing doesn't really sound anything like Project Blue Book.
I think what they're actually going for is it's the conspiracy theory angle of this is the official report, this is the official time span, but you were giving conclusions at that point in time and we didn't stop it because we've redacted part of the report to say, yeah, there's something there, we can't explain it, we're going to keep on looking at it. The public can be fed this information. I
was thinking about it when we watch it. I'd have to look at the actual dates, but I'm also sure that Project Blue Book would have finished long before Twin Peaks is set.
Well, no, it did say 1969, because I think...
Yeah, I thought it was like the late 60s that it went to.
I think it was clear that they're doing it not an official capacity or not a public capacity.
Right, I see. So this is the secret continuation of Project Blue Book that's been going on for 20 years afterwards.
And still is that mixture of deep space and really close at heart.
Yeah.
And again, it's one of the ones where I can't help but say, it's like, you can see what Alec Hirsch was a fan of.
Yeah.
It's like, everything about it just sort of screams, I want to do Twin Peaks, but funnier.
I love, from a conspiracy angle, the idea that the signals that they thought were coming from space are actually coming from the woods near Major Briggs's house. Because it's just got that kind of, the call is coming from within your own home sort of feel to it.
Absolutely. I'm also, we still can't get away from the Fourth Kind, because it's like, I'm sure the writers of the Fourth Kind watch Twin Peaks. Because I don't see how you can't hit on owls that closely. Given that, okay,
giant owls as
well, yeah. It's like, I had nothing but a vision of a giant owl. It's like, and if you've never seen The Fourth Kind, it's not great, but it's I think it's hard to watch if you've ever watched Twin Peaks, because the whole owl's not what they seem is running through your head as a litany through the entire film, and it's hard to take it as seriously as they want you to.
If you want to see the sequence, it was in the original trailer for it. So if you just look up The Fourth Kind's trailer, you see the sequence with the man talking about the owls. Yeah. But what he says is to the effect of something like, there was an owl beside my bed, it was smiling at me.
Yeah.
And that just one line is chilling. That's why I went to see the film. And it is literally in about the first 10 minutes of the film when you watch it, that sequence.
It's because we talked about Nome the other day just because it's too hot here and Nome sounds pretty cold.
Yeah. Our plan to move to Nome.
Despite its problems, no, they're mostly fictitious. It's still wild to me of The Fourth Kind. I won't tell you this one just in case you do want to seek it out. It's still the fact that they chose to end it in the way they did feels such a strange experience, because it's like that's not what you came to cinema to watch. You came to something about alien abductions and all this weirdness, not then find out that the death of your husband, which is the opening moment of the film, has a really mundane explanation.
Yeah.
Also, there's a thing you've been lying to us about for the entire film. Jazz hands. Also, your PhD is fictitious, and you are fictitious. Good going, guys.
They did try, when it first came out, to recapture the Blair Witch feel, because they made like all sorts of fake websites and fake interviews with this, I can't remember what she was, psychologist or something, that doesn't actually exist, whoever she is.
Psychologist or psychiatrist, I can't remember.
But it was much akin with that documentary they made about the missing kids that came out just before the Blair Witch Project.
Yeah. But yes, Major Briggs, I think, isn't given enough of the episode, and I also want to sort of pick at, he's sitting on that stone throne in the middle of the woods, and it's like such a weird image to have.
It juxtaposes quite nicely, though, with the throne that Ben has made for himself in his office.
So we're going to segue on to Ben.
Yeah.
I don't know. I have this in the back of my head, and I can't say this for sure, so apologies, but I'm pretty sure Ben messing with Confederate stuff wouldn't be seen anywhere near as troubling in 1991. This is probably a kooky, archaic thing rather than, dear God, that's the implications of you doing Confederate stuff.
It seems fitting for his character that he's reenacting the Civil War, but he's interested in the Confederate side.
Yeah, and trying to get them to win the war rather than losing it.
Yeah.
Even though Twin Peaks has to be in one of the Union parts of the country.
Would it have been, where is Twin Peaks?
It's Pacific Northwest, so we're talking
Northwest.
about... Generally,
I think the southern states were the Confederate ones, if I remember right. Admittedly, I'm English and this isn't my forte.
Yeah, not mine either. It's not as neat.
But you think of it as being places like Texas.
Yes. And Confederate stuff is generally, I think at the time... Because I'm thinking like Dukes of Hazzard, I think, is... They've got the car with the Confederate symbol blazed on the top of it. And that wasn't seen as controversial at all.
You did used to see it around a lot more. It's only, I think, been in very recent years where it's become deeply, deeply controversial.
I think it's because of the people who decide to wave it around are really awful people.
Like, Celtic runes are now deeply problematic because of a certain movement and things like that.
Yeah, but I have a suspicion that in 1991 this was him purely being kooky and presumably, like, is King Canut.
Yeah.
He's basically King Canut. He's railing against the impossible odds, or the thing he can't possibly change.
Yeah.
Is what we're trying to do with Ben, but in 2026, it's deeply troublesome to see a character in Twin Peaks associate himself with the Confederates.
But if it's anyone, I think it would be Ben.
If anyone, yes. Ben, or I'd say John Renault and Hank could probably also take on the responsibility, or Leo.
You could imagine Leo having the Confederate flag on the side of his truck or something.
Wait, it's like, where has Ben turned up all this stuff? Because it's like, again, 1991, you can't just send out or order off eBay a Confederate uniform or Confederate flag. That stuff has to have been sourced locally.
To be fair, they could be family heirlooms. They're like old lead soldiers.
They could be.
The Civil War actually, historically, wasn't that long ago. You could still have great-great-grandpappy's flag in the attic or something like that.
But yes, Ben is losing it for whatever reason. I'm not entirely sure why he's spiraling out of control here.
You know that Catherine has damaged his business and reputation, but she hasn't destroyed him.
No, so quite why this is happening to him, I don't understand. He's still got the Great Northern.
Yeah.
Which presumably is the foundation of his entire empire.
Is this just the loss of Ghostwood and the loss of One-Eyed Jacks was enough to just break him?
So not having ready access to a ever-changing pool of attractive young women has sent Ben spiraling off the deep end.
At the end of the day, it always comes down to sex, doesn't it?
In Twin Peaks, yes. Or rather, David Lynch works, yes. Even if he's not around at this point. Audrey at least is doing the correct thing and getting Jerry back home. And Jacoby, I don't think he's taking this seriously. It's like, Jacoby... Okay, again, Jacoby's actor wasn't available, so we've had to push off his appearance till the next episode.
I did hear, and I don't know where Jacoby actually appears in it, but his involvement here is because both Jacoby and Ben were in West Side Story, and they wanted to get them together in a scene because they've never actually shared a scene together so far.
Okay.
But I know you previously mentioned Ben Horne was Tony, I think, in West Side Story.
So, yeah.
But I don't actually know who Dr. Jacoby played in it.
He could be just one of the Jets or something. Anyway, Ben is spiraling out of the deep end. Bobby is somehow slow to realise he's hitched himself to the wrong horse.
Yeah.
But also, okay, so Bobby is just degenerating into a abusive partner. It's like just telling Shelley that she's got nothing to offer him.
Yeah, we could see this coming crashing down for a while, but that whole, now I'm a Mr. Businessman, what have you got for me? And it's that whole thing where she says to him kind of like, well, Bobby, don't you think I've got something better to do? And he just says no.
Yeah, like, oh, you absolute bastard.
But the same way, it's kind of Shelley's hubris coming back to bite her because she had that opportunity to be rid of Leo. Yeah. She had a get out, and Cooper said at the time that she'd come to regret it. And here we are. Yep.
And now Leo is alive again. We're not sure how he's managed this one. It's been hinted for so long.
In fact, it's not. It's gone a big jump from Leo kind of moving his head and things previously to he's not only managed to get up, but he's managed to get up and create this real horror story kind of setup for her to find him in as well.
Yeah.
Replacing himself in bed with a toy clown where God knows where that came from as well.
But also mess with the electrics because technically the house should be in darkness because the power station has been blown up.
I'm presuming that's why we've got the flickers. It's the explosion.
But still, that should be just off if it was destroyed. But
yeah.
Poor Shelley. As you said, though, her hubris has come back to bite her at long last.
Yeah.
Oh, we've our lovable pair of dimwits.
Oh, Dick and Andy.
Dick and Andy.
On our mission to prove that Nikki is the Antichrist.
I do kind of like it for it's the dim leading the dim, and it, as you said, when the couple find them in the office going through the files, there was a really easy cover to pull, which they don't.
Well, I think anyone sharper than Andy would have quickly leapt in there to arrest Dick, or something like that. Ah, I finally caught you, Fingers McGraw.
Yeah.
Yeah.
At the same time, I'd also say, if you are breaking into an office you're meant to be, maybe take your uniform off first.
I like the fact that Dick, being the fashion-conscious one, has dressed up like a film noir detective to do this. But Andy, of course, is still in his deputy's uniform, breaking into the Hall of Records at an orphanage.
Yeah, and you also going to say, Little Nicky has a large file. Large files are usually not a good sign in anything.
They did comment that he'd been fostered several times.
They did. So, but presumably even that paperwork is only not going to add up that fast.
Mm.
And I can only wonder if this is going to come back to bite Andy that he's done this.
I am curious to see where this is going, I must admit.
Yeah, I'm really not sure. Other than I'm pretty sure Little Nicky will not turn out to be the Antichrist.
They're fun characters, and I kind of like that this rivalry has become this kind of like odd buddy act.
Yeah, at the same time, it's you want to say, how old are you two in 1991 that you're actually entertaining this notion?
They are both utter dimwits.
They are. One of them just hides it better than the other one.
Yeah.
I suppose we didn't actually mention Catherine, because Catherine does actually come in connection to Ben.
You do very briefly see Josie as well.
Oh, Josie as well. So we Catherine and Josie, they kind of connect together as well. Catherine, I don't want to tell you how to do business, but are you just going to string Ben along more, or are you being genuine at this last bit to say you still like him? Because, I don't know, attempted murder is a hell of an obstacle to get back over.
With Catherine, who can say?
Yeah, I really don't know.
I do like her Ratus Americanus, or whatever she calls him.
Yes, slimius. And also it's interesting that she breaks him out of his fantastical mindset.
Yeah.
Because she does address her properly, and not as a war widow or something stupid.
Yeah.
And Josie, I did end up thinking when Truman goes to see Josie, because I don't think it's a necessary scene, because it's basically an extension of a scene you could conjecture happened. Josie's meant to move in with Truman, and they're meant to have a slightly more idyllic life. Isn't it always like Truman just kind of a jerk in this scene, and possibly really bad in relationships in general?
Josie, what are you doing here? I can't leave here, it's my home. Okay, then. But
then just the constant kissing and holding and everything, when she's saying, pushing him away and saying stop every time.
Yeah.
Like this is really not good behaviour here, Truman.
No.
I realise you think you're magically going to change your mind if you keep on doing this, but no. I think one of the problems with Josie's stuff at the moment is that the stakes don't feel right, because Eckhart must be truly terrifying for Josie to agree to this, really, because most people would be trying to squirm their way out of it, even after agreeing to it.
Yeah.
And we don't... All we have is a insinuation that Eckhart can get her wherever he wants to. So, I don't know, it just doesn't feel... The stakes aren't there yet. We don't know why she's that terrified of him. Maybe we'll find out later. I don't remember Eckhart at all.
No, I can't either.
Next time is Double Play. If you'd like to get hold of us, our email address is thingsgettingstrange42@gmail.com.
You can also get us on social media, and please do hook me up if you'd like me to present anything Twin Peaks, X-Files, or Garth Marenghi related at the start of the show. You can find us on Blue Sky and Tumblr at GetStrange42, or Facebook by searching for Things Are Getting Strange, a Twin Peaks rewatch podcast. Also, if you're not sick of my voice right now, I do stream live on Twitch TV. It's Mondays and Wednesdays at 8 PM GMT and Saturdays at 5 PM GMT. Please be aware, however, that next week is PlayStation Blackout Week. As part of the protest against PlayStation's recent policies, I will not be streaming any of my usual PlayStation games over that week. Instead, I am going to be streaming a host of one-shots from Steam, which include things like What Remains of Edith Finch, Proximate, and Platform 8.
Our theme music is envisioned by Kevin MacLeod. You can find it on Incompetech.com, licensed under Creative Commons by Attribution 3.0. Thank you all for listening, and until next time, please remember,
a peace officer's work is never done.